through something maybe a little more general from the album. Just, relationships in general and, bad relationships that hurt people on both ends. Is that something you guys had in mind, or was this purely a concept album?
Actually, I think that's a much better way to go about it. It's kind of on the most general sense, and approaching it from the angle of dysfunctional relationships more than what the story is literally, the sequence of events in there. I think if you can kind of hear that and then you hear the way that two people can be involved with one another and kind of absolutely hate each other, despite the fact that they kind of love each other too. So I think that's kind of the takeaway.
Sure, that's a good takeaway.
I think a lot of people try to focus really hard on like Peter, or like some literal story, or like some real kind of non-fiction thing, and it's not. It just kind of misses the point. It's like I think the point is for people to know exactly what you're saying, like identify with it and see things from it. And that's way more important than like how it started or how it ends, or it's just it's a kind of it's an idea, and not for everybody. It's not for.
Sure.
It's not a novel.
I understand. Cool. So, I guess I understand that the process sort of started just with you. I'm really unclear about how the whole thing came together, and then you guys came in later. Can you just walk me, maybe give me the Cliff's Notes on the journey from beginning to hospice?
Well, I think me and Michael came into it. Peter started sending us, like, we were in the band already for about a year already, and we'd already been playing the last couple records, and he kind of came into it and started sending us like guitar and sort of piano parts kind of mixed together, and they didn't have vocals on them at all, and we started working at that point, just sort of building structure, building up sound and layers, and it wasn't, I didn't even hear the sort of lyrics or melodies until really kind of close to the end. It was kind of the last thing that was recorded. So we kind of built up all the music, and then Peter sort of finished it with us. And I think it was like last summer that happened. But yeah, we were already in the band at that point. We'd already been playing shows for a little while, and so it was sort of like us working together, I guess.
Cool. And I guess that's then evidence of don't believe everything you read on the internet, because that's not the story that I had read on.
The story that
the isolation.
Peter
does the isolation
years and come out with a finished record.
We chain him in his cage for old time's sake.
Yeah, we whip him and make him write songs, and
I spend most of my time eating pizza.
we don't feed him.
The song "Bear" is about hibernating, literally, like he goes for 6 months in these caves. And
how we didn't let him eat food.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like well over 400 pounds at one point. And he's looking fat.
Finished song equal to finished meal.
We get him into the gym occasionally. The past couple of days we actually haven't been able to. It's a new. Gotta have to stay fit on tour. Try. Not waddling around. Working. Next question.
Just kidding.
The story. It's I think that it makes for a good story. The Bonnie Bear comparisons, but even not comparisons, but that people latch on to that. It's cool. Like it's good copy, and then there's always a little bit of kind of a game of telephone, I think, and you kind of evolves into whatever else. But and people don't really need to know the exact. You really need to know the painstaking detail of every last reality, But yeah, so
people, I think some people want it to be like mythological, in a way, like larger than life, or more emotional than like normal people. But I think it's like, to me, it means more just like it being real and being normal, and there's no like kind of myth to it. It's just sort of like everyone's life is sort of like fucked up. So
people have the option to take away whatever they want. If you want to get in depth and be involved, every note for note, great. If not, in a more general sense, great too. It's a personal thing that way, which is also what's cool about that. The way people are relating to the record in such a personal manner, I think, is very cool and very flattering. A lot of positive things that you can say that's everybody's dream. I think to write a record that people respond to in the way that they have. It's pretty surreal, you know.
Sure.
So,
no, I can.
But like, there's like, it's hard to get your head around, but it's very, you know, talking to people, like hearing people's responses, very encouraging, and it just feels really good. I think we're all, you know, I'm probably the most happy I've been in my life. It's just a very satisfying experience.
Cool.
Well, if I just could say, I think Peter is the prince of indie rock, and which I mean, you look at, it's bear with me.
He's cute too.
People look at Prince, and he's like a performer and like singer and the sex symbol or whatever. Not this doesn't apply to Peter this part at all. Like,
He's got a purple suit.
but he's an amazing guitar player. Like Prince doesn't get props for his guitar playing. He gets props for everything else. People are like, oh yeah, he can play. He's a sick guitar player. So Peter, I think, like, you know, it's the lyrics and the vocals and, you know, the atmospheric nature of it. But he's a really good guitar player, and like that, I think that it's well. He used to suck, but he's getting better. He's practicing like terrible. But yeah, it's, you know what I'm saying. Like people they focus, then they get stuck. Like apropos what we were just talking about. Like I enjoy his guitar playing. I think things come out recently that, to your point, also that we're as a band, I think we're like starting to explore, not starting to, but we're like continuing to explore bigger territories and more just being free. And you know, I noticed things from both of these guys during rehearsal or during shows that. Like very pleasant surprises that, you know, it's awesome.
Cool.
It doesn't happen in every band at all. It never happens in a lot of bands. You know, play the same thing night after night, and you don't get any like that like exciting kind of moment.
Sure.
You know, in the same way. We're gonna be on the road for a while actually, for at least through the end of the year. Guys, what else?
Darby and I might be mixing some stuff.
Oh yeah, we're remixing some paper stuff, and we're remixing some other bands.
Yeah.
That
And that's kind of what we're
we
doing.
won't say who they are in case we don't end up getting them done.
In case they suck.
They suck, and you're like, whatever happened to that remix? And you're like,
I've heard some.
So
They're sounding good. They're sounding good.
But not great. We're doing that, and that's kind of like what we're doing to kind of fill our need to be doing something that isn't playing shows while we're gone. You can't necessarily like, record a record while you're gone, but you can remix stuff. You can kind of
That's pretty.
just like sonic
I
experiment.
get a new laptop and program lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a new record, and we're kind of getting ready for it, at least in our heads, and
Okay.
kind of talking about what it might sound like, what we want to do with it.
We're gonna hold up a lot in October or for a few weeks.
We have like 2 weeks at home. We're gonna
Awesome.
not necessarily be recording, but kind
Yeah.
of planning.
I hope.
We're not gonna be doing anything except writing and recording.
Yeah. And then when we finally do like record this record, I think we're gonna take some serious time off from everything else to really just kind of separate ourselves from all the other stuff and all the touring. Because it's a very different end of it than touring is very different than recording and different from writing. It's very like every day doing kind of similar songs or going to new places. It's a very different experience than really being in your own head all the time.
Sure.
I think, especially with this record where we're going to be working, all three of us, very closely together, it's going to be, I think, important to not be surrounded by the other half of music.
Yeah, you have to sort of like really kind of be. I mean, not really in like. I don't know. Like everything's changed a lot, so you know, it's this kind of new whole world that we're not really used to necessarily. Sort of, but like you kind of have to be at home and like in something that you really know and trust and you can
Like
sit
a cage.
for. Like the cage Peter lives in, or the beautiful townhouse studio that I live
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time.
Yeah, it's
It's really cool, really an exciting experience, and hope to be able to sit down and maybe chat again the next time you're
Absolutely.
around here.
It's great meeting you.
in.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.